The reason I'm doing this, I want to explain what my work is all about, but also I wanted to show you how you can live your best life. And you think, well, how could you possibly do that? And it is about becoming your authentic self. And that is the thing that for many of us is really challenging. And it was challenging for me, which is why I'm the best person to tell you. And the other thing that I'm doing is that I'm preparing. A week from today, I will be in Colorado and I'm shooting an episode of Beyond Belief with George Forney. And it's the biggest thing that's ever happened in my life. And this is why I want to say to all of you, never limit yourself and what you can do. And I'm going to go through this and I'm going to show you a few things. I'm going to give you why I am the person to tell you this um, can work. And the other reason I'm doing this is because I'm not going to do consultations anymore. And this will serve as that great thing because people want to know, well, what is this work going to do for me? What's going to happen? And so I will explain it so I won't have to go through that. One of the difficulties that I've had for the longest time is which I always have my clients figure out is what is my worth? How much are you worth? And that is something that accumulates throughout your life, depending on how much you want to discover who you are. And that's what I have been doing. And I can say this at 73 years old. And when you see the story, which I will go through quickly because I want to talk about this, where we are now, what you might be feeling, and why the world looks the way that it does as well. We're moving through a mass ascension. When we move through an ascension ourselves, it is figuring out who we are. How do I discover my life purpose? How do I become confident? How do I move through all the entanglements that I had with my family or friends, my growing up, whatever it might have been? Every single person does that. But then we have times where the world is doing that. And this is what we're in now. And I don't know how I got to beyond belief. I want to say that there are several various themes how that could have happened, but people keep finding me. And I'm saying that because when you start to show who you are, people will find you as well. I'm no different than anyone else. And that's what I'm going to talk about. Now, I'm going to talk about a little presentation. This is an old presentation that I did. I'm going to go through it because I want it to make sense for everyone why I've been doing this work and why the last several years I've been so focused on it because I know that our world is energy. And if we don't start to move up and loving ourselves, we just don't live the lives we want to have. And we also don't contribute to the world. I say all the time, I know every single person is born to bring some value and worth, but they might have difficult paths or evolutionary journeys. That's what it is. However, I have figured out a way that anybody can move through that. And it's been shown, and I've been doing it for a long time. But it came from me living and all the other things that I've done, just as it's done for you, every single person. We just figure out how we are supposed to evolve based on what has been existing in the world. And sometimes the world changes. And so new things are developed because of that. I brought a new thing. And that's what I'm going to show you now. And I'm going to share my screen so you can see this. Well, this is going to be really fun because I tell you, I can't get the PowerPoint to work. I can do a lot of things, but technology is not one of my things. And I'm going to be the first one to tell you that. But let me show you what this is. I'm calling this is life transformation for the new world. We've all seen that the world has changed and we're wondering why is all of this going on? Probably even especially today. Several years ago, I started talking about the changes we would move through, especially in the United States. Now, this is a video that I did, that was done a long time ago, and I'm just going to play a few minutes of it because I don't typically show a lot of the things that I've done over my life. And that's something that my introverted self has always hidden, but I want you to hear just a bit of this.
Hello, I'm Demetra.
My name's Clarity.
My name is Cody.
My name is Lisa.
My name is Marla.
My name is Anna.
My name is Terry, and I'm a student of Roger Burnley.
I'm a student of Roger Burnley.
I lived almost in my body. I was afraid of a lot of things that I didn't even realize I was afraid of.
I did have some really challenging situations in my life, and it messed me up pretty bad, actually. It took me a long, long time to recover from the early part of my life?
I was just starting college and I didn't know what the future held for me.
I'm a mum with 4 kids. We have a business, probably going through some marital issues and all sorts of things.
Before I even knew about him or anything, it's like he read me like a book. He just was so intuitive and honed in on my fears and my issues very nicely and very gently, but just kind of like pushed the button and said, here, this is what we're going to do now.
That message came at a really important time for me because I was making big decisions in my life about changing jobs and changing careers and moving to another part of the country. And I don't think that I would have been able to move forward with all of those things because I would have been too scared before.
I think the ways that he has helped me is just kind of, he's kind of given less voice to kind of my own like self-doubt and more voice to kind of my own intuition and like things that I like think or kind of want to do or think I could probably do. He'll be like, oh yeah, of course you're gonna do that. Like it's like the most obvious, clear thing ever. So I think he's just like very validating.
I feel so much more empowered than I did ever before in my life. It's given me more vision, more clarity, and it's allowed me to visualize what I want in my life.
Whoa. It was kind of like, I was like, what are you, a wizard?
Now everything seems to be falling into place. My seeking of spiritual meaning beyond the religion of my family of origin did not allow the things that I do today.
He's 70, 71. It also shows no matter how old you are or how young, you've still got amazing things you can do. Because, I'm 51 now. I'm going, what am I going to get done in the next 20 years? And look at him, and he's just so inspirational.
Thank you, Roger, for opening up new vistas for me.
I would just thank you for you've gotten me through so much with when I was in the hospital and everything, and he's allowed me to just keep going on in my life and giving me what it is I need each and every day to improve.
Don't stop what you're doing. You're so inspirational. You're one of my role models. You've changed my life, and I can see you changing the life. Like I introduced my twin sister to you, and I can see you changing her life, changing her attitude too. You save people's lives.
It means everything to me. It's actually healed me up inside and made it so that I can feel like I'm myself. I feel like I'm myself now.
Thank you. The ability to trust myself, trust my voice, trust that I have a gift. I'm so grateful that I found him and helped me grow and evolve into the person I am today. Thank you.
This is what I know about everyone. I'm going to talk about this. You were born perfect. Your authentic self is the container for everything. When you arrive at your authentic self, you will have all the money, success, prosperity you've ever wanted. Your life journey is valuable to much more than just you. There are no accidental events or circumstances in your life. The only trouble you will experience in applying those ideas to your life exists in your thinking. And everything that I say, I know because I've lived it. And I know everyone's resistance because I did it all of my life and it was challenging. But once you take those steps and go into who you're supposed to be, things change. And this is, I'm going to go through quickly because I think that a lot of times people look at me and think, wow, this guy, he's so happy and he's never been through anything in his life. And I've been through everything, which is why I sometimes get a little, and I'm just being completely honest, sometimes I get a little frustrated when I see people not taking the next steps and they don't start. And I said, no, you can do so much more. And I know this, but I can't judge you because I held back so long. And this is why, but now it's opening up. And this is why I know my life will change to a bigger way after I do this show. But that's also a little confronting. I understand the trepidation and fear when you take the next step. We all do it. And so I'm just going to go back, and when we start looking at who we are, this is why I have all my clients examine your life, because it's valuable and you have things in there you just haven't seen yet. And you will, if any of the clients are here, will tell you that's what they've discovered. Now, this is, I'm just showing you this because I love the picture. That's me. That's my little brother. But me and that, I'm like, what am I? I'm a little afraid there or something. But I've always been this person who had to take care of everyone. That's why I'm sitting there, because that was the role that I've took on in my life. You've probably taken on some as well. But they also, carrying on that role has really also prevented me from moving where I needed to be. You always have to find a balance in your life. So I'm going to go back to a little bit earlier, and the things that I experienced. I grew up in Chicago. As I said, I'm 73. I was born in 1950, so I've seen a lot and I've been through a lot. This guy was my choir director, and I'm pointing him out because I was 12 years old when I met him, and I had no confidence. I was afraid of everything, and for some reason, he saw something in me. For some reason, he said, "No, you've got something," and he met me in my grade school and mentored me throughout high school and pushed me because I wasn't doing it. And that's just what it was. Then I left. When I left school, everything, I was lost, didn't know what I was going to do at all. So I took a job. I got lucky though, got a job that gave me a lot of money. I was 19 years old. I left college because I didn't know what I was going to do. So I understand when people are lost and don't have a sense of direction. It's been cut off somewhere because we all have it. And so I took an accounting job, and then they paid me a lot of money. So I stayed there for 4 years, even though it was never anything that wasn't my career. But that's what happened. Then I'm just going to skip through a few of these because you don't need all of it. But then and this is back in the 80s, I moved to California. I'd moved to New York. I'd done all sorts of things. I moved to California, and then eventually I met this guy in 1988. And I'm saying this because he was my coach. He was the best coach in the world for singing, and that's what I did for many years. I coached so many clients over 35 years, which is why I started reading and understanding people so well, because you develop something when you do that. However, I still didn't believe in myself. He pushed me. And when he told me, you have to go and start to coach, I said, I can't do that because I'm not good. I can't, I don't have it. He said, you will do so much better. He says, anyone who comes to you, you're going to know more than they do. And then he said, and then you're going to become better than me one day. I learned everything I knew from my coach. That's what we're supposed to do. Didn't understand that fully at that time. I do now, because we all learn something, develop something throughout our lives, and then we give it to others. We don't live forever. We're here for a little bit of time. And so unless we start to own who we are, nothing changes. But then things happen. And I'm just going to go through all of this because this is the tragedy of my life. I had reached a place where I was making a lot of money, and I was doing so well, and that was the home that I had, and then everything left. Now, I had lost everything many times in my life, starting at 19 years old. Our family's home burned. We lost everything. And I went through that series. This was 1995. And what happened was I had got an infection on my foot, and it didn't go away, and went into gangrene. I had to lose part of my left foot. I was in the hospital for weeks. I became a drug addict because I had to take opioids. That's the only way I could function. I lost my home again. At the same time, I had already been through so many things. And that picture down there, this one is when I lived in Chicago. We're moving through an evolutionary change now. I did that in 1968 when we were doing the same thing. So I do understand. It's all energy that we each move through in our lives and also in the world. But that's what happened. Then I started developing other things. Now, I put this book up because The Power of Now was really, really powerful for me, because it aided me in some of my healing techniques, which is the stuff I'm going to talk about when I do Beyond Belief, because I've healed so many things. I healed cluster headaches. I healed all the back pains, all the things that people move through in their bodies. It's all gone. Now, I'm not saying you're going to do that, but I'm telling you that it's possible. And I didn't believe that because I watched my father be, having being laid out all the time because his back was out. I mean, the things we think we pick up, we can transcend anything. Then I started doing something. I didn't put all of this in there, but I'll talk about it. In 1988 is when I started doing something different. I started doing automatic writing. I was moving through another transition in my life, scared to death, didn't know what I was going to do. And I read an article about automatic writing, meditating and sitting down and doing something. So I said, okay, I'll do that. And it was kind of surprising because I started receiving cosmic information. I didn't tell anybody. I hid it for 20 years, or I attempted to, I should say. And so because it didn't make sense, where's this coming from? How am I doing this? I'm the guy who is moving through all kinds of crazy things. I started in 1988. I went through all of the difficulties and challenges, lost everything, and then I started as I was receiving Wilhelm's information by 2019. Well, it was before that, but by 2019, I said, I've got to tell people what they can do. So I wrote this book, Overcoming Fear, A Guide to Freedom. Fear is the thing that holds us back. Always. I mean, I wish it could be something else, but if you do a search, you will see that most humans don't live the lives they want to live because of fear. That's why my favorite movie is Defending Your Life, because that's what the theme of that is. We get afraid. And because that fear comes from not being willing to step into the next version of who we're meant to be. Then these are a few things. You experience yourself, your life, and the world through your cognitive process, or how you choose to perceive anything. Many of your perceptions you've learned from others. Any difficulty you experience in your life is due to your faulty perceptions. You can change them all. When we start understanding, wait a minute, I'm not any different than anybody else. I've just been using my brain in a little different way. And sometimes we couldn't know that before because we didn't even understand neuroscience for the longest time. But now that we do, we start to put it together. I didn't realize that that's what I was doing, was using neuroscience, because I'm sitting down every single day receiving information. So my brain is changing. I mean, that's just the science of it. Neuroscience is an interdisciplinary science that works closely with other disciplines such as mathematics, linguistics, engineering, computer science, chemistry, philosophy, psychology, and medicine. There's no difference. We all use our brains in the same manner. We just have been programmed differently. That's all. Okay. And this is just a really quick, I just want to show you this, just to give you a little sense of this. That's a
Cognitive functions are the skills we utilize to carry out any task. We use them every day to mentally interpret and understand the world around us. Using cognitive functions allows us to choose, receive, store, and process information so that we can analyze the situation and make good decisions about how to appropriately act and respond. Let's think about a classroom setting where we use our eyes to see the board, ears to hear what the teacher is asking, and sense of touch to feel the pencil, desk, and chair. But in this environment, we rely on our brain to interpret, analyze, and respond to the information that is coming in through our senses. Cognitive functions can generally be categorized into attention, orientation, memory, executive functions, language, social cognition, and visual spatial skills. These systems are interconnected, and they are working simultaneously to allow us to perform everything from the very simple tasks, such as reaching to turn off your alarm in the morning, to increasingly complex skills, like working within a group setting to solve a new problem and meet a deadline. Depending on the task and the environment, different functions and areas of the brain will be activated, using millions of neural connections and pathways to allow for seamless perception and decision-making. Our brain relies on cognitive functions in order to be effective in our school, occupations, and hobbies. But there are different factors that can influence how well we can use them. Injury, disease, diet, and many lifestyle factors can impair the strength and performance of our cognitive functions. With that said, there are very different strategies that we can use to improve them.
I wanted to study so much more because I was also very depressed a lot of my life. And so when I started understanding or finding out neuroscience, I said, oh, there's a reason. When I went through all the illnesses, I became clinically depressed and I was on medication. I had to take antidepressants. And so I wanted to know, well, what's going on in my brain? What are these chemicals that are doing this that's causing me to feel this way? And why has it been with me most of my life? And so when I started finding out, I said, oh, wait a minute. I can start consciously thinking a different way. I can understand how my thoughts are having charges in my body and doing things. And if I do it over time, maybe things change. That's how it works. I'm not, I don't think I need to go through this one.
What's going on in the brain?
This will
when
tell you a
learn?
little bit.
In order to learn anything, whether it's math, a foreign language, guitar, or how to dribble a basketball, you need to create and strengthen pathways in your brain. Think about shooting a free throw. Know that feeling when you've got it down and don't even have to think about it? That's muscle memory. Here's the thing.
Uh-oh. Okay. Anyway, I don't think I need that one anyway. It's okay. Yeah, it's just the idea. I just wanted you to get that, and then I'm going to tell you so much more. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. We've heard that so much, but believing these things that are real are really challenging. But I'm telling you, it happens. It is a process of moving to a different dimension of our understanding, and everybody can do it. Now, I'm going to talk about this because this is why I'm doing the talk on George's show, because I'm going to also talk about our ascension process and the global ascension, because we are moving through one now. I called it, my guide said, a restructuring, but it's happened before in history, nothing we've ever experienced. I don't think these are playing. Okay. Yeah, that's not happening. All right. It's not important. I'm just going to tell you, anyway, I'll just go through this. I said it's happening all over the world. But I came up with something in 2021, which is what I'm going to talk about today. And I didn't believe myself. I'm saying this because you will have something that comes to you, because we all have these things we're meant to do in life, but belief sometimes is really challenging. When I was told in 2021 that I was given everything that anyone could need, I was given that in 2012. That made no sense to me, and I suffered for years because I tried to discount it. I said, no, it didn't happen. Couldn't have gone on. And so when I went and found the information that I had and then understood the connection of the universe, how we all change, and there are times in our world where we move through changes, and we can go through history and see those changes. But when I heard this and I started working with it, many of you know, they told me, they gave me messages on everyone's birthday that in 2012, and I've read them to so many people, and it's like, wow, that is me. We are all connected, and they say the universe has us connected. But what I did was I needed to find out. This is a little clip from an Akashic Records reading. I just want to show you this part of it. I hope. Will it play? Oh no. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to have these done up again and because I said, yeah. Anyway, I'll explain it all. So I went to, I'm just going to stop the share because this isn't working. I don't want to do that to you. And so what happened was I went to this woman and had this Akashic Records reading done. If you want to see it, it's on my YouTube channel. I only shared it a couple of weeks ago because it was shocking to me to see that, wait a minute, I was somehow given all of this information that, and I'm just going to say, caused me to come to understand myself and heal and all of that. And I am a mystic and a sage. I could have never told you that and would have never said those words because it didn't make sense to me. Except now I'm seeing that it happened. And I'm finding that all the information was given to me beforehand. This is what happens. We have a level of consciousness that we can access at any given time in our lives or also in the world. And we access what we can based on what has been done, what we have learned. Civilization changes over time. And so now there are new techniques, new people develop something. I was one of those people, but I want to show you something else. One thing that many of us do is to think, we're stopped because of failure. And I've gone through that. So I just did this morning, and you guys will love this. Let me share this for you. Because, we hear things about certain ideas and we think, is that really real? Why do these people say this stuff? The first one is, I have not, Thomas Edison, let me move this out of the way. I have not failed. I have not failed. I just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That's what we do sometimes. We will try and try and try. I can't accept failure. Everyone fails at something, but I can't accept not trying. Michael Jordan. Far better it is to dare mighty things to win glorious triumphs, even though checkered by failure, than to rank with those poor spirits who neither enjoy nor suffer much, because they live in a gray twilight that knows not victory nor defeat. Theodore Roosevelt. I love that one. Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. And that is so true. I can't tell you. Ambition is the last refuge of the failure. Okay. There is no such thing as failure. There are only results. Tony Robbins. Remember that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life, because almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important. Steve Jobs. And he's gone. I think for months and years, 99 times, the conclusion is false. The 100th time, I am right. And I can say that because that's exactly what my life has been. Trying and trying forever and then coming up with something that works. And that's what I'm going to talk about. And that's what I've created. You can't, you have to become willing to want to take the steps into who you are. And sometimes it's really uncomfortable, but this path that I've created is so much easier. And that's why I'm going to tell people. I've always had this idea. I think, am I a person that's supposed to change the world? And you felt that too. There's something about you, you felt that you were supposed to make a difference. And I'm saying everyone is. And if we do it now, it'll make the greatest difference in our world. There was a wonderful thing that I saw yesterday, a 13-year-old kid who has so much wisdom, and he was talking about his understanding of quantum physics and sciences and mechanics and all of that. And I go, wait a minute. I'm just getting that now to understand how we are all energy, and this is why certain things are happening. But when we come to understand that, we begin to change things. So the reason that I'm talking about planetary ascension and ascension is because we're all moving through it. Everyone. It's like there's energies happening that are causing us to question everything. We're going to question ourselves. We're going to question others. We're going to have certain divisions about different things. I got triggered today by something, and my triggers are different because I don't have the kind of hatred that I used to have because I had to work through it. I had to move through all of that. That's what we each do in our ascension, because whatever we're disliking about ourselves is something that was programmed in. It's not our real self. It's not our authentic selves. That's where we're always attempting to move. And so when I started discovering this work, just being completely transparent here, when I heard that I had all of this, even though my whole life I healed all of this, everything that had gone on, even with my foot, I started to walk again. I could do all of those things because it's in our consciousness. You start to move over things much easier. You don't do it right away. It's taken me forever. This is why I keep saying I talk about my age, because I never want people to think they've lost something. That never happens. It's just about taking the next step every single day. And the other night, when I decided to plan this, I didn't know what was going to be happening in the world. I get guidance, and I just knew I needed to do this. And I wanted to start conforming what I'm going to talk about on the show, because I want people to have more awareness. But I knew that things would be difficult in the United States, and we saw that. We were seeing very unprecedented things happening because we are trying to evolve. We can't change anything if we're not willing to acknowledge things that within us that are have been a negative, have been lower vibrational, let's say, or something else. And then when we move through this, we feel better, we heal. And that's what this work has done for me. And it was difficult to explain to people how it had done that, how it had accomplished it, because I didn't know. Then I discovered that I'm this mystic and sage, and I received all of this. Makes no sense. But if you, I'll give you something else. We'll be moving through some things in the rest of this year. And if you go to anyadvicefortoday.com, that's the website where Wilhelm's messages are. And if you read 2023 in the dates that are corresponding, it'll clue you into what's happening. And there's something that I cannot explain, and we have to let go of our disbelief in what we can accomplish. And that's why the best show for me is going to be Beyond Belief. But anyway, I want to talk. I want Yarna, if I know you have to leave, and you wanted to say something, and I wanted to bring you on. Can you unmute, or do I have to do it for you?
Oh, you're right.
Great. Okay, perfect.
Yes, hello. I think like what I got inspired to share today is that the transformation that Roger went through, as an example, with healing all of those things and being 73 now, basically starting to really live his, or like he started with 70 to really live his life, and now he's 73. And those things come into fruition. That's 3 years, if you really think of it. 3 years ago, I got hit by a car on a highway walking. Also, before this, I was a mental mess. I couldn't even communicate. I was paranoid. I've done drugs. I was partying too much, drinking, smoking. And it took me 3 years to say I choose to be in bliss whenever I want to be in bliss and be in present. So there are things that you can manifest for yourself by taking one step at a time. And it's not too difficult if you really take yourself slow and do one step at a time. And when I did Roger's work, the program, I've done it in a few days, all of the 31 days. And now I'm translating it into German because I see the great value in it. And the message has to get out, and the information that Roger put into the program, what he channeled through since 1988 or 89, but particularly 2012, or the program that he was developing. This is a game changer, and this can be a fast track for anyone who chooses to take the fast track, right? You can make it complicated, or you can wait for things to happen, or let things cause you to move rather than you cause things to move yourself. And this is the decision that each of you have to make. Yeah.
Now, let me tell you something else, because Yarn is so brilliant. And when I met him, I said, this is a guy who's so aware and so much younger than me. So we have to let go of our age thing, because consciousness has nothing to do with our age. And I'm telling you, I just listened to this video this morning that talked about, well, when you start moving through this process, is you stop aging. And I said, oh, that's exactly what's happening. Now, again, this has been a challenge, but what we do is we make things easy. And what I know is that anyone who does the 31 days of this work, their change because their brains have changed and they are going on. But also, I didn't finish. And this is why I'm talking about it, because I'm transparency. When I did okay, I didn't play this for you. When I did the program, finally decided to do it in December of 2021. I want you to get this, December of 2021. And I thought, I'm not sure what's going to happen. And the people who did the 31 days, they were changed. And when I knew that, and then I could see the difference, there were some people who would stop. And I'm saying that's okay because they come back and they keep going. But people who completely quit, it means that they're bumping into something they're not wanting to move through. They're not wanting to look at within themselves. I've talked about Carl Jung so much because he was one who brought that information. He says the difficulty with people is they don't want to look at themselves. And again, that's only because we've been programmed to believe in our insignificance or whatever might have been there. But then when you move through it, you start to discover these magical gifts that you have that you never knew were there. And I can say that because that's exactly what's going on, and it keeps happening. That doesn't stop. We just decide when we stop ourselves. That's all that occurs. So I'm saying this because I told people Yarna yelled at me too. For years, I have been saying I'm changing the rate of my program because I've got to do more and I've got to put more in, and I didn't, and I never did it because I have this ridiculous thing about me, and people who know me have seen it forever. I just have to help everyone. I just think that if I'm going to help everyone, that'll make the difference, and that's a disservice to me and others. Because see, then we don't change. We don't reach that next level of existence that we could have because it's consciousness, and that is abundance. And when you can own yourself, then that's when everything starts to change. Anyway, so I want to see if anyone has any questions, any about the work, anything that you're going through. I really want to get to that because I don't want this to.
Yes, and I say one more thing whilst people can get ready for this.
Mm.
I want to say, like last year, 95% of the days I had conversations with Roger. And listening to him and the things that he's talking about, it's always progressive. It's always progressive. He keeps moving forward. He keeps speaking his reality into existence and acts on it. And this is remarkable. And this is why he is going to Gaia next week. And this is what everyone can reach. And even if you don't, if your soul doesn't, if you, right, and I talk to your soul, if you didn't choose to have some leadership role or whatever in this incarnation, you do have a purpose, and finding your joy will greatly benefit you. And being surrounded by people who celebrate that, who speak their passion and create it into existence, what they're passionate about. They create and get even more of that because it's infinite potential, unlimited. And yeah, it's life altering or mind altering and life changing, right? You're going to be like, I think Dr. Joe Dispenza said this, superhuman, but like you're human. Like we're not even there yet, what a human really can do, but let's level up and let's do it together in whatever stage you are in. It definitely makes much more fun when you have people surrounding you who live after ideals like this. Yeah. So
I
thanks
think,
for
yeah.
doing what you're doing and moving on.
If anyone wants to ask questions, I think you can also do that in question and answer or in the chat or whatever, because I really want to answer any questions that someone might have. If you listen to any of the Wilhelm channeling sessions, you might hear it said that I was given everything that any person could use to create this magnificent life. And if more people did it, we would have this really great world. And I start thinking about that logically, and I go, that makes sense. Because see, I had to move through a whole bunch of things. If you go to my website, rogerburnley.com, I've been talking about this for so long and writing and putting all this together because I wanted everyone to understand what they might be moving through, but what the world was moving through as well. That's why it's been challenging. But if you go there, you'll see the messages that I've done, and they start here. Well, this is the earliest ones. I have others, but and if you go there, I would love for you to hear. There's a little recording there, and then I wrote this because I wanted people to understand what was happening to them. This was January of 2023. Then how you can achieve your greatest potential. I just wanted to give people so much more information as it kept being revealed to me. The Ascension Guide for the New World. That's what I call my work. Because see, we have to let go of our anger, bigotry, hatred, racism, all those things. And that's the ascension that we do individually, and then the world can do the same thing. I was just given this work. And I just wanted everyone to understand. So I wrote several articles, and you can always go there and read them. And this is talking about my changing. We told you every November 23rd. That's a fun one. You will see when you read that one, you will see there are several messages every 23rd because we don't understand everything all at once. So I was given information over the years, and strangely enough, and just on certain days. This is a perfect good one. I want everyone to read that one to understand that you are perfect. You just have to figure out how and decide to do it. Um, all suffering and struggle you continue to experience are self-imposed. And I write things like this because I know that they are true because I've done them. Self-imposed because I'm choosing to sit here instead of move because I'm too afraid. That's why I wrote the book on fear, so I do understand it. And this one I wrote because I knew here in the US, I knew what challenges we were going to move through, and they're happening right now. And I wrote this in 2022. Life coaching for a new world. I want you to understand all of these are kind of fun, actually, when you go back and see them. I'm going to say all the quiet parts out loud. That's what happens. I receive information and I just got to tell you. Then I might be channeling Carl Jung because I didn't know that when I was receiving all this Wilhelm stuff, that it was somehow saying the same thing that Carl Jung came to understand. We can all come to understand these things as well. And so you'll see all of this. It's miserable not being myself. That's all of us. The worst suffering we do is when we can't take the steps to own who and love who we are. Okay, I could transform the world and become a billionaire. I see. I knew that one a long time ago, but it's still, that was that thing that I had to move through because I still let me bring everybody in, and that's never going to happen. I understand that. So the world according to Wilhelm, I decided to give up suffering today. You only want three things, and that's for everybody. And I've received this: acknowledgement, acceptance, and approval. That's all that we want. And when we can give that to ourselves first, we're going to get it from everyone else. I was given a gift now, but I want to show you where I started. I had to acknowledge all of this. I didn't want to be me. That's the biggest problem because not accepting that journey, I could never fit in or feel that I belong. And I know most of you felt that. Never fit in or felt that I belong. And that's perfect because you're not supposed to. You're supposed to be your unique self, but that is also the journey. You might remember why you're alive. Wow, I spent several months in a dark room. I wanted to write that article because I suffered from cluster headaches for decades, and they said to me that they're incurable. And I suffered, and I just lived with the suffering until I decided I'm going to figure it out, and I did. And people do not have to move through those things. I'm not going to tell you about your migraines and all of that. That's a whole different thing. But we can do. You could save the world. I'm saying that for anyone. And we don't know who we can become. This kid that I listened to yesterday knows that at 13 he's going to save the world or change it. The reason you're alive, that is just, and I've talked about the program. I feared success and myself, and that's for all of us. The only reason we don't achieve the success we want is because we are afraid to figure out who we are and what we're meant to do. And I can say it because it took me so long to own this, and just because it was kind of shocking what it was actually. And then to really charge what it was worth, I said, I don't know if I can do that. That's a mental thing that we all move through. Um, Here's what's happening in your life and world. I did that because I wanted to give everybody I didn't know I had. Oh, your destiny is before you. This is wow. I should just publish this. You guys could just have a great time with this. Okay, the reason you were born. I was a reluctant mystic. I had to become I had to become honest. Then this is 2016. I might be racist with misogynistic tendencies. And what that was me being given guidance to saying this is what we were going to be moving through in our world. And I needed to move through it in myself first. Because no matter who we are, we have threads within us that have come from a long time ago, from whoever, that are limited. And so if we're still holding on to ideas of us not being okay, we're going to pass it on to others. And this is what we are seeing in our world now. And I knew we would be here. But when we change the energy of that within ourselves, we change it for everyone. So are there, any question? Great. Okay. Marifi, hi, Roger. Thank you so much for your courage and work. Are there any methods or tips you can give to someone who wants to go within and find answers from their soul on the next steps in their personal journey? Is there something that requires continuous days of extreme focus and silence, or is it something to be done slowly and bit by bit? Thank you, Marifi. That's so wonderful. You got me to tell my process now, and this is what I'm going to put in the program. I've promised all of this, and I am putting it in there. When I first, okay, I had been meditating for a while, so I was used to meditating, but this new idea, and I'd also seen channeling before as well. I didn't think I was going to do it. But when I had seen, I read an article on automatic writing because some business guy said this could work. And I thought, okay, if you're a business guy, that might make sense. And and he said, just sit with paper and just meditate and see what comes through. Get just quiet into all of that. So I don't know how long this happened, but the first days, nothing happened. Nothing came through. And I go, okay, well, I'll go on. And then one day, something started to happen. And I will tell you that what started to happen is I started to trust myself more. I started to let go of my resistance to thinking that is this possible? And there's a very different feeling that you have when you're getting cosmic guidance because you know that it's not your brain, because it's different. It's something comes in new, and then you have to trust it. There were many times where I would receive information and I would hear words that I didn't even know how to spell, and that it was coming from a different source, and I would have to always look them up. But yes, you are saying all the right things, Marifi, because it just practice. That's all. And I really want more people to understand it. I don't think I would have gotten through my life unless I had been doing this, because I knew that no matter what my day was like, what I had gone through, that morning, if I sat and did my meditation and received information, it would change me. And it worked every single time. I would even get upset if something happened where I couldn't do it. My life, I felt like I'm out of, I'm okay. Okay, and that okay, yeah, and then Mayumi. I'm in the program. This is the second time, I think. I have a tendency that every time I start something new, then I get so busy by the life events, then can't finish. But anyway, this program is something different because I think the pureness, the energy of this course, and Roger, is pure. It's been very exciting and I've been changing, but I needed to pause again by being very busy for the job I'm taking, and job finished yesterday. I'm starting the course again. I can start again from where I stopped. Yes. That's thank you so much. Okay, I did that one. Yes, because that's what I wanted people to see. And many people have done that. I never want people to think that you have to finish it, because you have to do it at your pace. And I'm just going to put in a lot more content. But when you give yourself time, because some questions, some of the processes, some of the assignments get you to go really deep into who you are, and you might need time to process that. Alan's not here, but he's one that's been doing this for longer than you, Mayumi. He's been doing it for 2 years. And I told him, I think he's written a book because he's written so much, but he's changed so much as well. And that's what I love seeing, is how it's transforming. I've said so many people who have done that. Yeah. So anyone else have questions? Oh, there's another one. More? Oh, here. Oh, Lester, I really don't understand what being authentic means, or being my authentic self, or having a realization of what my purpose may be. It is, okay, it is, that is it. It's a step-by-step, okay, it's a step-by-step process. And Lester, we never get there. We never done, because see, there's always more. And this is why I have people go back and look at, you're on this evolutionary journey, this incarnation, this time. What is your soul path? What have you done now? And what will that awaken within you that gets you to recognize your worth? And that's how the program is done. And when you move through it, you see that that's what happens. You start to go back and you look at, oh, I had this experience, I did that. Now I'm getting a clue as to what I'm meant to do in the world. Now I have to decide if I'm going to break through my resistance and do that thing, or if I'm going to stay where I am. But then the other thing that happens, and I'm going to say this because I know this is true for Lester, we don't appreciate our worth. We don't appreciate what we've moved through and what we can offer to others. And that's why we feel like we don't have a purpose. But self-examination, self-discovery brings it all to light. Because there's no one. I can say this because I've coached so many people over the years, and the only thing that I've ever found is people not willing to believe in themselves. That's the only thing that's ever been there. I've never found, it's not that they don't have the talent or the ability, because we all do, but it's that belief. That's that cognitive process, that cognitive dissonance, so to speak, that we have to move through. But Lester, you've done some other things. So I'm just gonna say this. You have already inspired and in so many other people from what you're doing right now. And so when you start recognizing and putting value on that, you will start to see your life purpose. That's what will happen. Anyone else? Any other questions? I'd love to hear from someone. Anything you want to know, or anything you're moving through, or difficulty right now that's going on in your life, or something you have a question about. Anything. Okay. Oh, here's another one, I think. Okay, that was done. That was done. Did I get everybody? Oh, it didn't. Okay, I think I got all of that. Let me tell you something else. I didn't put this in there because I've done it before, but if you were to see the 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 folders that I have of all the writings that I've done for so many years, because I saved them all. I didn't even know why I was doing that. Literally, I would write them every morning. I didn't know why I was doing it. And to turn out that it was giving me a entire philosophy that I created over my life. And it did, because I can see the result now. The result was I don't have the trauma. I've moved through my generational trauma and all of that. The only thing I didn't do was move through my need to try to save everyone. That was the biggest part. And that's what I'm moving over now, because I can't operate in the same way. We can, when you've lived your life, many of you will have this. I know, because you've probably given yourself so much, maybe to your family, your kids, or partners, or whatever it might be. And then you start to look at, well, wait a minute, what about me? And this is the most important thing. And that was the message that's on the site, Any Advice for Today. And if you read that one, you will see this is where we're meant to come to now, is owning who we are, understanding the importance we can make in the world, and deciding to live that. And that's what I'm doing now. And it was so uncomfortable to say to people, no, I have something that can lead you to your best life. Now, I haven't finished it, and that's my thing. So that's what I'm completely honest about. And I've told all my members, don't worry, I'm still doing it because now I'm going to have to, because I'm going to be, this thing that I'm talking about is going to be exposed, and I'm going to have to charge a whole lot more for it, but I'm also going to finish it. I'm having fun figuring out how far I can take it. How much more healing could I possibly do? Because it hasn't stopped yet. And I'm saying this not to put, I just want you to understand what is possible. You may not heal everything and go through all of that. That may not be your life path, but I'm telling you, no matter what, you can be fulfilled, you can become happy, you can live the life you want to have if you take the steps into becoming your authentic self. And that's why I wanted to do this, to tell you what it's about so that everyone can understand. It's about bringing you to this career that you could have, doing the thing that's going to make you happy and create a sustainable life. And that happens when we move through all the blockages and get out of the way and start believing in ourselves. So, anything else, you guys? Any questions? Let me just tell you, let me just explain a little. Oh, yeah. Yes, good, good, good. Okay. Hi.
Hi.
Oh, so good to
Hi.
see you.
Thank you. I was a little bit of I'm an introvert myself. I have my companion here, my kid. And I just registered yesterday. I haven't started, but I just wanna ask. I mean, because I'm kind of blocked when I have a paper in front of me.
Mhm.
So I just want to ask everybody, well, to ask you and everybody else, w- kind of what is the best technique that you can, help yourself to kind of go and try to
No,
start
no.
doing it.
You're just going to start. You will see that when you start the first assignment, it's going to start to stimulate something within you. And then it keeps going and it keeps happening. And then what happens, it breaks you down. And what it does is it breaks down your resistance. You reframe everything. You reframe everything you thought was wrong about your life. You reframe everything you thought you made a mistake about because that never happened. You were just figuring things out. This gives you a way to understand that. And then if you listen to some of the people who have done it, well, you did hear the testimonial from those folks when they said, "Oh, I didn't know what I was supposed to do next." And that's what happens. No, all you have to do is just don't worry and just take your time, just as you get in there and just let your consciousness start to do it. It is helpful. I will say this. And you don't have to do this, depending on your schedule, but I always found that um, making a schedule and doing it at a regular time for me was really helpful. When I started doing I had to become accountable. When I started publishing the any advice messages, I knew that I wanted to do my meditation in the morning and have my messages published by 7 o'clock. That was just my thing, but it kept me accountable to doing it
Mhm.
because see, we can just let go and not do it and keep hiding.
Yeah. Well,
So,
thank you so much.
but you'll see once, don't worry, once you get started, you will see that there's so much more that will start to come through and it'll happen every single day. Oh,
All
but
right.
also you don't have to do it every day. I want to say that because some,
Okay.
we said it's 31 days right now. We're going to have so much more, but take your time with it. If it takes you 2 days or whatever, or if you something else happens in your life, then come back to it. Just like Mayumi says, it doesn't matter. You come back. And I will say this, and this was the best thing ever because this program, is so inexpensive for anybody to do it. But what happens is once you have it, you can go back and do it again. And you'll hear from so many people who have said they were shocked at what they discovered when they started going back again, because that's how our consciousness evolves. So,
And we change.
yeah,
It's
absolutely.
a different person that comes back, not
Yes,
the same. Yeah.
yes.
Okay. No, thank you
Great,
so much. I'll
great,
do that.
thanks. Yeah, we're so glad you're in.
Yeah, I am too. I'm happy.
Good. Okay. Anybody else have a question? Want to ask something? Anything at all? Okay. Well, first of all, I want to thank you all for being here, and we're going to send this replay out because I want you all to have it so that you can remember and just to understand that your mission now, should you choose to accept it, is to love yourself, is to do everything you can to reach that next level of who you're supposed to be, whether you're doing this or not. It's just the most important thing that you could possibly do and to give yourself. And I am just thrilled that, you move through so many things in your life, and so much of it was difficult and challenging and horrible. And I'm not going to go into all the details here. However, to know that it allowed me to create something like this and also allowed me to feel this way in my body now, you can't even put money on that. You can't put anything on that. It's just this different existence. And that's what I want everyone to have. All right, guys. All righty. Thank you all so much for being here. And oh, wait a minute, Roger. Okay, I'm sorry. I had some more. I know my. Oh, I'm sorry. So sorry. I know my purpose is to build a new way of learning and education system. Why am I challenged to finding my tribe? Because it is new. This is what. Thank you so much for that, Suzanne. I'm going to do this. Okay. I started having this idea that I was supposed to do this in 2016. About there. Didn't and I started shooting something, but then in 2017, and then I redid it again in 2018. I kept doing it, and then but I couldn't really own it. I didn't understand, and then I changed the name. I did everything, and then it shifted, and I understood this is what I have. And when I did this, and then okay, I'm gonna um play this for you. I think I might have done it in December of 2021 is when I first did the first group, and I was terrified. And Suzanne, I'm saying this because yes, you are creating something new, and it's going to be a while before people understand it. No one was listening to me or understanding what I was doing at first, and especially my family and friends, they thought I was just out of my mind. What are you doing this for? And so, and then when I put it together, and then did it, um, it was like this is what happened. And again, I'm just saying this because I know that when you think of every great inventor, every great person who built something, that's why I read those things about failure. They all thought they failed because they were just building it, and that's what you're doing as well. And so when I stopped resisting and just finally started to do it, I received this.
I find this work is very powerful. They change a lot very quickly. It's like quite surprising how things are changing for me.
I want to say how grateful I am that you've done this. And the time that you've put through on this is just amazing. And as we get older and we put through something like this into the world, you don't know the benefits of it until years later.
I just want to thank you for the program. Probably a year or two ago, if there was a tough decision to make, especially about money or anything like that, I would let fear and worry guide me away from a decision that might have helped me grow.
I have moved. I have made some positive changes. Hey, good, bad, or ugly, you did it. That's the main thing.
When you say the time is now, and I always appreciate it, because now more than ever, I feel a little bit more satisfied myself, because especially lately, I keep leaving a project not finished.
I love the program. I love the questions, but I think that being aware of everything that's inside of you and bringing it out onto paper, it really does make you step forward in that area.
The way the questions penetrate into your memory and into your past experiences is so unique. Yeah, it really goes deep very, very quickly. I mean, I'm only on day 3, but the way like the questions are presented and the things you read before and the whole steps you go through, probably a lot of people's experiences, but it goes really deep, really, really quickly.
I mean, every day has its difficulties, but like it's better than it was. You know, I mean, I'm doing more things that I enjoy, and like I find that I personally feel like I'm meant to do my book and everything. And then with the acting, I'm working on all that.
I've been taking so much courses, like especially with this pandemic. I approached different from Tony Robbins, from Bob Proctor, from Jack Canfield, and also I've been following Abraham Hicks, but never really brought me the result that I wanted to do it. So I'm very, I mean, this course is very more, I found that I think it's a bit faster.
Roger, I just wanted to say thank you again, because a few years ago I realised that voice coaching wasn't the only thing that I could do, and that I had something else. But I didn't know what it was. I had no idea what it was.
Sorry. So Suzanne, I'm playing that because that's how it took me that long. And you see that was 2021 that came through. And you heard what that one guy said about, you know, Tony Robbins and all of these things. It still took me a while before I could come to this place. And I'm still only changing it now, where I kept saying for years, wait a minute, I've got to change the rate and do all of that. But that belief. But what I will say to you, what you need to do is just as you start connecting your work, because I know you see what you're meant to do with this education. When you start connecting it to your experience, you're going to see a very different result, is what I'm getting. Okay, I lost the other question. Here it is. Great. But I'm telling you, that's wow. I'm sorry, Suzanne. I just want to say, don't give up. Just keep refining it and focusing on exactly what you wanted to create, because you know that it's going to produce a result, and that result is coming from what you've lived. Just keep putting it to that. Roger, one way to help when doing the exercises is not to judge yourself. Yes. Um, that's that's the thing. That's why people don't do them, because you have to confront your self-judgment, because that's the only thing that's holding us back. Trust me. I know, because I've been doing it for so long. We get this fear and we judge ourselves, but that's programming again. And we can undo it, because that's part of our soul mission. Okay. Did I get everything? I think I did. Great. Anything else, you guys? Anything else you want to ask? Or I think we have it all in here. This is good. Thank you so much for being here. And I'll send the replay to everyone, because there are other people that registered, and I want them all to have it. And those of you who, we'll have the links in there too, if you want to come into the program before this changes, but it will always be available. I'm saying this. So I'm not saying it's going away. It's just that the rate will change. So, but you always can come in whenever you're ready. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. Love you so much. Thank you for being here. Let's change the world.